I think we need to talk about XRP ledger validators. Are they acting in bad faith? Because I see a lot of accusations flying around out there, so we need to touch on that. But before we do, I want to point out this bizarre world that we live in. And Brad Garlinghouse losing his mind here, listening to former SEC Chairman Jay Clayton saying, you know what, the SEC needs to do the right thing here. They need to approve a spot Bitcoin ETF. They need to have sensible regulations over the crypto space. Well, they weren't doing any of that when he sat in that seat as chairman of the SEC. And even more mind-numbing than that, we look at this clip from Gary Gensler. I'm not going to play it. I don't want to have you listen to his slimy voice, but you can listen to it if you want on my Twitter. And here he is when he's at MIT before he became chairman of the SEC, and he's grilling Hester Peirce, saying, you know what, you, Jay Clayton, Roseman over there at the SEC, you won't approve a Bitcoin ETF, a spot ETF. That doesn't make sense. We have futures Bitcoin ETFs. We're going to have futures Ethereum contracts. Like, what's the difference here? It's nonsensical. And at least with Jay Clayton, you could say, well, the crypto space hadn't matured to where it is now. But here is Gary years before saying this don't make sense. We got to have a spot Bitcoin ETF. And then he takes over that chair and he keeps blocking it, just like his predecessor. Every time it comes up, he blocks it, hostile towards cryptocurrencies. What's the change? Why does Jay Clayton flip the script when he gets out of the chair and, Gary Gensler becomes some sort of, version of Jay Clayton when he takes over? Well, it's because they're puppets. That's the truth. They're just executing what their puppet masters say. You have Elizabeth Warren who writes the questions and Gary Gensler's answers to those questions. And if you don't think she is telling them what to do, and there was someone very similar telling Jay Clayton what to do, you're nuts. And this is the problem. We're always combative with the SEC, and yeah, they're a problem, but it's really a level higher. It's a political issue. And we have to move this old political guard out of there before we can make any progress, because they're the ones that are really in our way. The SEC puppets, they just go out there and take the heat and do what they're told. Really, it's a step higher than that. And that's what you got to understand. We're seeing along the same lines, all of this, crypto financing terrorism. And I'm sure they use money to facilitate terrorism. I have no doubt. I'm sure they use cell phones, internet access, encrypted messaging, all sorts of useful tools. This is the thing. We can't say, well, crypto has no utility, but you know what? Terrorists, they use it for its ability to send money lightning fast and quick and all this kind of stuff. It's a tool. It should be regulated in a thoughtful way, and by ignoring it, by pushing it, overseas where we don't have any sort of input on the crypto systems of the future. This is what you're building. Start respecting the technology and understanding it is a useful tool, and we can go a long ways to having a better world and a better system. You can't have it both ways. Either it's, a useless Ponzi scheme, or it's a very useful tool that could be used for good or bad. Now, let's get into this. I'm not calling out any one individual. I think Mickey B. Fresh is one of the smartest out there, big fan of his, but we see what he's saying here. We need a new governance structure. After seeing this ignorant behavior by UNM validators in delaying the most significant, impactful amendment that every XRP owner and project needs, holding back Ripple 2. Here's the thing. They're not holding anything back. This is the general way this process works. They ask a lot of questions. They examine things. They make sure it's safe before being implemented. This AMM amendment is bigger than most. It's massive. And so it should take more time. So if a general amendment takes 4 or 6 months to go through for something very minor, why are you thinking that validators are acting in bad faith when we're only at day, 50 or something like that? If this was a general amendment, it would take a lot longer than this. This is a really big one. They need to make sure that they get it right. I also bring up this point of view. AMMs are not being blocked. The only thing that was blocked was smart contracts. They've been blocked for a decade because one party, not the many on a decentralized system, but one party doesn't believe in smart contracts on the ledger. Maybe they're right. That's the only thing being blocked. AMMs are not being blocked. They're just being examined, making sure this amendment is ready. Ripple has rolled out amendments in the past that were not ready and could have been catastrophic. Just because you're Ripple doesn't mean you're perfect. There's a reason why the system is the way it is. I'll point this out as well. I see this Froggy saying, well, 6 million of these Zahao tokens, or however you say it, are going to Daniel. 6 million are going to Expector DS. Both of them are validators and they should be removed. Look, why do we have this stupid Zahao sidechain? Because Ripple is blocking smart contracts. And so David says, you know what, if you want to do it, Ripple's saying, if you want to do this, if you think smart contracts are important, you take it and put it on your own sidechain. Because we will not review the code. We will not allow you to vote for that feature on the XRP ledger. We don't want it. We won't let you go forward with it. And we are blocking. One is blocking everyone else. There's not a single user of the ecosystem that doesn't want smart contracts. None of these developers will want to block smart contracts. Everyone wants this functionality, and the one Ripple is blocking it. And they're telling them, if you want smart contracts, put it on a sidechain, and that's what they're doing. You can't get mad at them if they're doing exactly what they've been told, that you can't bring this on the ledger, that you have to take it on a sidechain and do it on your own network. Why would you take them off the UNL? Why are they acting in bad faith? That is their only option. That's what they have been directed to do. The one is blocking everyone else and telling them, if you want that functionality, put it on your own sidechain, and so they are. That doesn't mean they're bad. That's just their only option, and they're doing exactly what they've been told to do. This is not a bad actor. They want to build this out and show, you know what, the XRP ledger can handle smart contracts, that they have a great way of doing that. Will it work or not? I don't know. That's why we have this capability to put it on a sidechain, see if it works, and if it does, guess what? Bring it over to the ledger. And so I think this is ridiculous, calling out the people that are not blocking things, calling out the people that are just trying to make sure an amendment is ready, and saying that they're bad actors. They are the farthest from the bad actors in this equation. Only one thing was blocked. That was hooks. That was smart contracts. Ripple's been blocking them for a decade, and they solely make that decision, and so no one gets smart contracts. Don't go after the independent developers. It's ridiculous. Let me know what you think down below. And as always, please like, please subscribe. The revolution will be televised right here on Jungle Inc.